Happy Friday, Floss Tube. Hello, crafty friends. How's everybody doing today? My name's Caroline. Welcome back to my channel. Mostly a Floss Tube channel. Sometimes there's knitting, sometimes there's sewing, sometimes there's miscellaneous chit chat. But I'm glad you're here. I live in London, Ontario, Canada, and I'm currently on a short little coffee break, so I thought I would just pop on and share a couple of things with you that that have been on my mind, crafty wise. First of all, I've been talking over the last couple of videos about how I've been sewing, starting to try to sew in hand, and I didn't bring it today. I left it at home. I've got two projects that I've been attempting to try out the sewing method for cross stitch. The first one that I started off with was a design by Krista Gramer of Just Stitching Along, a reproduction sampler, Miss Margaret Ann Rollo. And I'm stitching this, there it is. I'm stitching this on a 28 count silk weaver linen. I believe it's called the taupe colorway. And again, say this every time, and one of these days I'll actually, you know, get out my measuring tool and actually count the holes per inch. It's a 28 or a 32. But it's a hand dye, and hand dyes generally tend to shrink up just a little bit when, you know, throughout the dye process. So it could be slightly smaller than either of those numbers, but it's definitely not a 36 or a 40 count linen. I know that for sure. And it's a fairly nice looser feel linen. It doesn't have any stiffness to it. And so I've put a couple of more threads in since the last time I shared it. I finished I was speaking about this caramel color that I used for the numbers the last time. And that thread is also called for in filling in the crown. So I did finish those stitches in there, in the crown, and I started the next border, but it's underneath there, and it's so pretty, isn't it? Pretty. Oh, that's all the time. That is literally all the time I've had since I last visited with you on Wednesday. But what I'm finding is, because I was saying that the other project I wanted to try for sewing in hand was my Joan Sands Hogmanay sampler, also by Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery. And I'm stitching my Joan Sands on a 40 count XJU linen. Beautiful linen, beautiful linen. So I tried to do a few stitches in that with using the sewing in hand method, and I did not enjoy it at all. Not at all. One strand of floss, so I mean, you wouldn't think that you'd have to worry about how the threads are lying, but I just found it, really tight, you know, to get the needle in to the other. I'm sure with practice it would probably be fine, but I adore stitching on 40 count linen with my frames. So why would I try to reinvent the wheel? The answer to that is so that I could stitch faster, because the sewing method is actually quite quick. But I just didn't enjoy it at all. And it's such a beautiful piece, and the colors are so beautiful, the linen's so beautiful, and I love stitching 40 count on a frame. So that's just not gonna work for me. I'll keep those projects for my frames. So that, and I do stitch two-handed when I have my fabric, my project in a frame. But this fabric, the 28 count, looser weave, 2 strands, I am railroading the stitch as I use the sewing method. I'm bringing the needle through those 2 strands of floss. That's what railroading is, so that as you take the stitch, you poke your needle through the 2 strands, so that when you pull your thread through the other side, it causes them to sort of straighten out as they lie flat, as they pull through and then lie flat on the fabric. So railroading the stitches as I use the sewing method has helped with the neatness, the appearance of the neatness of the fabric. My shop is on, my workshop is on a very busy main street here in London, Ontario, and there are frequently sirens and whatnot. So if I stopped every time there was a siren, it would take me a while to record this video. So we'll just let them pass and carry on. So this is such an enjoyable stitch. I'm really, really enjoying this. And I think it was, I think Teresa just left me a comment earlier today about, I had made a comment about my thumb and how I could definitely feel slight aggravation in my thumb when I sort of would get hyper focused on my stitching and not move my hand. And she mentioned that it sounded like I had maybe a bit of tendonitis in my thumb. I haven't wanted to name it yet. But Teresa, I think there's a distinct possibility that that you're correct. So lots of breaks, trying to not get too focused and distracted and into my stitching so that I don't take a break. But yeah, not very much progress. Going back to the Jones Sands sampler, I had misspoke when I said it was my new friend Gwyneth who had come up with the idea to host the stitch along, and she corrected me. It was Nikki Noodle and Betsy Klieger. They were the two masterminds behind starting this joint stitch along group. And once again, I still don't remember the hashtag for it, but they are a fun group of women that I have been really enjoying to get to know a little bit better. So both Betsy and Nikki have YouTube channels. You can find them, Nikki Noodle and Betsy Klieger on YouTube, and also Trixie Tricycle is a member of the group, and as is Laura of Brenda and the Sampler Stitcher. Brenda and the Sampler Stitcher. Brenda and the Serial Starter. That Laura is also a member of the group, as is Ellen. And it's completely Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. It's her fault. She pulled me into this stitch along, and that's why I've been joining in. So I have pulled something from the deep, dark recesses of my stash pile, because this is a WIP. Let me just rearrange you here. This is a WIP that I have never shared on this floss tube channel. I have been recording videos for 4 years. I have not touched this WIP in 4 years. I have looked at this WIP in 4 years, but I have not touched it. I have not put a single stitch in. And I have a hankering to get after this one. So for the first time in 4 years, I am sharing a brand new, never seen before work in progress with you from deep in the stash pile. I actually had to get Nicholas. I just called him at home and I said, my pattern is on the kitchen table. Can you please take a photograph and send it to me so that I can put it in my video? Because I'm sure that most of you will have never seen this chart before. Okay, it is called My Rustic Retreat, and it is by Something in Common. Okay, so I will pop the photo in here while I'm chatting away with you so that you can see what the cover photo is. Now, as you can see, the cover photo shows 3 separate small designs. And when I first saw this piece, it was stitched up as a model at my then at the time local needle workshop, which was called Thread and Eye. And one of the owners, Neil, had stitched this, and it was on the wall. And it was one of those times where you look at the cover chart and you're like, yeah, it's okay. It's really, it's cute, but doesn't really, you know, grab my attention. But Neil, and I think it's suggested in the pattern that you can do this. He had taken all 3 of those designs and he had done them as one long strip, one long piece. And seeing it stitched up in reality was like, you know, just night and day when you actually see a model. That's why models sell patterns, because when stitchers can actually see for real what it's going to look like, it's much more appealing than just a photograph on the front of a pattern. So I started this years ago, and I'm still in love with it. I still think it's just so beautiful. I love the colors. The colors are very muted. This piece belongs at my cottage when it's finished. So are you ready? Are you ready to see how much I have done? So here it is. Look at that. Let me fold it in half and then you can see. So yeah, that's the size of my fabric. So I have a fair ways to go. However, and it's full coverage. So there's a good close-up of what I have. Isn't it pretty? It's so beautiful. And so that big tree there is the, I wish I had the chart. The next time I'll show this again next week because I'd like to put some work into this weekend. So in the middle is the cabin and the deer. I love this so much. So there you go. This is I never do WIP parades ever, just because they make me a little anxious. I like watching other people's WIP parades. In fact, I really enjoy watching other people's WIP parades, which would, you know, sort of, you would think would give me the catalyst to then therefore do my own, because I know that other people like watching them. But the thought of me doing my own WIP parade gives me anxiety, because I generally tend to be the kind of stitcher that I stitch what I want when I want. I start what I want when I want. So I have a fairly sizable stash pile, and I'm good with that as long as it kind of stays. I know it's there, but I don't necessarily have to confront it every day. So it's the stash pile, and it's good and it makes me happy. But do I really want to go through everything and itemize everything that I've started and haven't completed? Not so much. However, I am thinking that I might like to share a few of the older things that I have in there, real treasures that that I would like to put some more love into, and this is definitely one of them. I'm a totally different stitcher than I was back when I, you know, first started this. I'm faster. I'm better at finding my colors. I'm better at reading patterns. You know, I don't think I'm any neater. I was always fairly neat. Look, I even didn't even finish the one thread that I had. There's my back. And I'd say that's still the kind of stitcher that I am now. I still start and stop my threads the same way. So isn't it pretty? I love it. So I pulled this out probably a month ago, and it's been sitting on my desk here at work because long ago I sort of took the threads from the Kitted Up project and used them in other things. I'm using the called for DMC threads that the pattern is charted for, and I took them out and was using them in all kinds of other projects. So it's time. It's been more than 4 years since I've touched it. It's time. So that's a little treat for my stash pile, and hopefully one that will see some more love in the coming days. So that's all the personal crafting that I had to share with you today. I have a couple of notes, admin notes about the shop to tell you about, just to let you know about quickly. First of all is the red berries. My Modern Folk Embroidery red berries charts that were the second batch of orders. So the pre-orders red berries charts. The charts, I picked them up this morning. I now have the charts. Pretty sure I have all the floss in stock. If I run out of the last few colors, the last few bits of Cheeky, I'll be getting those next week. But those should be shipping out later this weekend. Hannah, my trusty sidekick Hannah, is she came in for a few hours this morning, and she'll be coming into work this weekend to package up orders. I mentioned on Wednesday that Hannah's away at she's doing an opera workshop over the last 3 weeks of this month, and so I miss her. I can tell you that I miss her because Hannah does a lot of work here at Evertote. So those will start to go out. Those Red Berries pre-order charts are going to start to go out the door this weekend. The other thing involving Hannah is that if you ordered a Modern Folk Embroidery Mystery September Sampler Stitch Along kit, and the linen was sold out, and if you ordered a kit with no linen, but you were really hoping to get the linen, Hannah has sent you an email. I think she said there were 20 people. 20 people had bought the kit with no linen after the linen was sold out. She has emailed you all this morning, so go and check your emails if this floats your boat. Check your spam folders if you don't see it there. I have some extra linen dyed. Now I still have to cut it and insert it. It's not ready to ship out the door, but I have extra linen, and the people who bought the kits without the linen after it was sold out, you have first dibs on whether or not you would like to purchase a piece of linen to go with your kit. So everyone will have received an email this morning. Check your email boxes and get back to us as quick as you can, because next week, probably by the middle of next week, I'm going to open those kits back up again with the remainder of the linen that I have. So like if you have no idea what I'm talking about, Jacob of Modern Folk Embroidery and myself and Carrie from Leo&Roxy Yarn Co. have been working together to put together a mystery sampler for Sampler September. And it is a reproduction sampler. It is a small reproduction sampler. We should be able to complete it within the month of September. It was charted, the original sampler was done on a 28 count linen, and so that was Jacob's first choice for size of linen to use. And I can tell you, because I did have quite a few people ask for small, higher counts of linen. You know, people only wanted to stitch on 36 or 40 count linen. So let me tell you this. There is some over one stitching in the chart. There are also some queen stitches, and the queen stitches show up a bit better. They're a little bit more visible in their intricacy of design with the slightly bigger fabric. So if that changes your mind at all about, you know, not wanting to do it on a 28 or 32 count linen, I feel like I should maybe let you know that, so that when it comes out and you think, oh, well, maybe I don't want to do this on a 40 count linen, you'll know now. Also, the size of it, the finished size on a 28 count linen should be just under about 8 by 10 inches. So it's not big. It's not a big sampler. And what else can I tell you? I just received the stitched model in the mail yesterday. Ellen Reed of Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour. She has, she stitched the model, and it's beautiful. It is beautiful. I love it. So I'm really, really, really excited. The model is going to be released on September. Also the PDF. If you've just decided that you want to, some people actually bought the kit without the physical booklet chart, and they're going to purchase the PDF from Jacob when it's available and stitch along with the PDF copy. PDFs will be available in Jacob's shop, www.modernfolkembroidery.com, on September 1st when the sampler is revealed. So if you have any other questions about the September sampler, feel free to leave me a message in the comments below, and I think that's everything. So I will have some extra linen. Watch this space. I'll let you know early next week when I'm going to list it, so that you'll know. It usually goes pretty quick, so you'll want to maybe set an alarm if it's something that you really want. I cannot take email requests for, you know, can you set aside a piece for me? It's just not fair. The only fair way to do it is to tell you what time it's going to be listed, and then if you really want it, then you could just hop onto the shop at that point. However, the people who bought the kit and really wanted the linen and didn't get it, those people do get first dibs. And I think that's fairly fair and understandable as well. So yeah, once the mystery is revealed on September 1, I will have extra sets of the chart, the floss, and there's another surprise in the kit I can't tell you about, because, well, it's a mystery, and so you'll have to wait to find out. But once the mystery is revealed, because lots of people don't like mystery things, right? Which I can kind of get. There have been a couple of times where I didn't want to do a mystery knit along because I like to know what the finished thing is going to look like before I purchase it. I can understand both, right? Some people love a surprise and other people don't. So if you don't love a surprise and you want to wait until the surprise is revealed, I will have more supplies at that point. I'm not sure I will have more linen at that point. Getting linen has been quite a tricky endeavor. So anyways, that's a story for another day. I think I have shared everything. I do have some other orders that are in the shop for still some July bags that I believe I'll be finishing up today and Monday, and getting those out the door. We have Halloween things coming out right around the corner, so there's lots going on for August. As far as bag of the month clubs go, it's not a club. I keep calling it a club. It's not a club. You don't sign up for anything. If you like the fabric, you can buy the bag that is that bag of the month. I was keeping the floss a surprise for the people who purchased the bag of the month. I think I'm gonna switch. I think when I show you what August's bag is, I'm gonna show you what the floss is as well, because it's 3 skeins of floss that comes with this set. And if you like the fabric, you're gonna like the floss. So being that I'm not a huge one for big surprises, and really the big surprise is the bag, right? And it's not a surprise because you're seeing the fabric. I might as well just show you the whole thing. So I think for August, and I have 3 amazing new colors for the bag that I've got coming up for August. And there is Halloween stuff coming out in August as well. So big plans. And I think that's it. I think that's it for today. So if you have any questions for me at all about anything, leave me a comment in the drop down box below, or send me an email, caroline@evertote.com. But like I said, with Hannah being away, next week is her last week at the opera workshop. So things are a little bit backed up for me at the moment. However, I will do my very best. So if you send me an email, I will do my best to answer it in a timely fashion. I think that's it. Okay, so I'm off to finish my coffee, and then I am going to sew some more bags this afternoon. That's on the agenda. And then we'll wind some floss, and then we're gonna cut and serge some linen. All really, no complaints. It's a fun job. Okay. So I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. And extra special, I hope you are safe to viewer Nikki in South Africa. Please stay safe. And to any of my friends here in Ontario who live in Barrie, I also hope that you are safe. And there was a very, very, very terrible tornado hit the town of Barrie yesterday. Barrie is about 3 hours north of here where I live, and wow, I mean the photos that we're seeing coming out of there. I know my friend Kirsten is in Barrie. She did mark herself safe on Facebook, so I knew she was okay. But stay safe, everybody. And the sirens, the sirens will see me out. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy stitching, and I'll see you on Monday. Take care.